Thank you for joining us. Once again, here we are. My name is Alec Wiggs. I'm your host, and you're listening to Bandwidth, the voice of Amplifier. Today's interview is going to be the second interview we've released since we moved to Atlanta, but the first time interviewing an artist from the area, so we're pretty excited. Today's interview is going to be with Nick DeAndrea. He's a local lifestyle photographer who's originally from Florida, but has lived in Atlanta for over 10 years. With over 14,000 followers on Instagram, impressive client work, and packed out galleries in the area, Nick has really made a name for himself as a photographer in more than just the Atlanta area. We were able to interview him a few weeks ago to really get down to why it's important to go the extra mile for the sake of your art. For Nick, this means literally and figuratively. But that'll come up in just a sec. First, let's take care of some business. And by business, I of course mean our current section. Current is our segment of all things NC, but now we're expanding it to South Carolina and Georgia. So here, we'll have all your news and events across these three states. So let's kick off things with North Carolina. Starting on July 16th, we got Raekwon at Cat's Cradle. July 21st, Youth League EP release show at Local 506 with pictures of Vernon and Basement Life. Again on July 21st, Phanogram and Tycho at the Meadow in Asheville. July 28th, Boy Harsher and Convoy at Snug Harbor. July 29th, Old Heavy Hands at Local 506. Moving into August, we got August 5th, Jenny Bizet's with Wing Dam at King's Barcade. August 6th, Essex Muro LP release show at Neptune's. And finally, August 9th, The Melvins at Cat's Cradle. Moving on to South Carolina, we're going to start things off on July 20th. We got Junior Astronomer's CD release show at the Royal American in Charleston. Then on August 3rd, we got Secret Anderson, Wing Dam, and Jenny Bizet's at the New Brooklyn Tavern in Columbia, but also check out the same show the next day on the 4th at the Royal American in Charleston. Finally, on August 5th, we have Whores in the 68 at the New Brooklyn Tavern. Finally, my new home, Georgia. We're going to kick things off on July 17th. We have Washed Out at the Variety Playhouse. July 20th, Material Girls record release show with Omni at the Earl. July 21st, The Black Lips at Variety Playhouse. On July 22nd, Mother and Palm at the Earl. Again on July 22nd, Daddy Issues at 529. On July 28th, we have Tim and Eric's 10th anniversary Awesome Tour at Variety Playhouse. And finally, August 6th, Garbage book signing of This Is the Noise That Keeps Me Awake at Criminal Records. That just about wraps up our current section for this episode. If you're in the area of any of these shows, go check them out. And without any further ado, I'm going to kick it on over to Eric Ginsburg with his monthly news in 60 seconds.
I'm Eric Ginsburg with Triad City Beat, and this is your monthly news in 60 seconds. Democrat John Ossoff lost a special election for Georgia's 6th congressional district by about 10,000 votes. This was the most expensive U.S. House race in history, making it hard not to wonder if the Democratic Party has any clue what it's doing. The city of Charlotte repealed a controversial crowd control rule originally aimed at bottle-throwing anarchists. Activists fought the rule, and now Charlotte-Mecklenburg police say the ordinance isn't necessary. That's because now they're concerned about terrorism. South Carolina has refused to comply with the Trump administration's request for voter data. The Palmetto State is one of 7 that won't cooperate. Other southeastern states, including North Carolina and Georgia, are only partially complying. This has been your monthly news in 60 seconds. I'm Eric Ginsburg for Triad City Beat. Now back to Alec.
All right. Thank you very much, Eric. That about cuts it for our intro section of the podcast. We're going to try to move right along here into the interview. A few quick housekeeping notes. You can reach us, of course, on our website at amplifiergso.com. You can reach us on Facebook at Amplifier Zine, both our Instagram and Twitter, AmplifierGSO, all one word. Our email address is bandwidth@amplifiergso.com. Send questions, podcast ideas, any info for Atlanta-related content pieces, or just general comments. Let us know. We're still learning the area, and we'd love to explore and interview more out here, too, so please just let us know. And, of course, we're still working on the hashtag in this new generation, BandwidthGSO. If there's any cool stuff you'd like to tag us in, use the hashtag. We'd love to learn more about where we're living now. So thank you very much for listening thus far. Up next, Nick DeAndrea. Stick around. Thanks. Hey guys, welcome to the interview portion of Bandwidth. Today we have with us Nick D'Andrea. He is a lifestyle photographer based out of Atlanta, Georgia, doing mostly freelance work. He's got a huge portfolio. I would very much encourage you to check out his website, nk-da.com, or his Instagram, nk.da. Follow along if you're not familiar with his work, because that's how you get an idea of what we're talking about here, and it's some pretty impressive stuff. So thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to start off just, of course, I just wish you could elaborate on the background I just gave, because it's very brief. Give what was your introduction to photography, and what were the inspirations that turned these interests into the career that you're running right now?
Well, I started photography mainly as a hobby. I would work along with cars and people who had cars, and I put my car under the knife for some body work and some, just some performance mods. And it was about a year that I didn't have the car, so I decided to pick up a camera and just document my other friends with their cars, and it kind of escalated from there on and grew into what it is today.
What age were you around?
I'd say I started at about age 20.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, age 19.
Yeah. So photographing cars and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I guess, would that be the very beginning of everything, is starting cars, and then from there you kind of saw the vision that you have now with your whole website and everything? I mean, it's such a chronicle of different kind of like styles now.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought of it like that. I didn't expect it to turn out this way. Like I said, it was just a hobby at the time, and then I kind of like grew into it and realized I really like doing this, and
right.
I wanted to document and expose everything that I saw to whoever wanted to see it.
Cool. So if you are familiar with his work, or you have viewed his profile, as I've asked, you'll see it's a lot of crazy, breathtaking scenery, city-wise and everything like that. And where did that really start, as far as going out to those, finding crazy locations and stuff like that?
Honestly, I find it very interesting that I go to these places that not many people would think to go to or really want to, just for the sense of like you can get in trouble for doing it, or
right.
It's just kind of scary. Like people are afraid of heights, and I've kind of like learned to adapt with the fear of it and kind of get over it.
Right.
And then I see a site and I'm just like, I have to take this photo.
That's awesome. Yeah. It reminds me of those guys that, go up in their GoPros, to those Shanghai towers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's where some of the inspiration comes from.
Right. Yeah. As soon as I saw your work, that was the first idea. I was like, it's more than just a GoPro video now. It's these like beautifully captured, edited, beautiful, like scapes. You actually capture those moments instead of being like a brief, you're seeing it through their eyes kind of thing.
Exactly.
So what's, where's those kind of that photography idea? Where's that taken you? I mean, have you been just stuck in Atlanta, or have you gone out?
No, I mean, last year I traveled quite frequently.
Yeah.
I've been all over. I've been to New York, Chicago, West Coast. I've been everywhere. I've been in the Middle East.
Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah.
see, there you go. There's the juicy bits.
I took a road trip in January, did 30 days on the road throughout the whole U.S. I think the main part of my photography is the travels. That's like really what kind of pursues it, or pushes me to pursue it. There's just not much here in Atlanta to like continue to shoot every day.
Yeah.
So getting out a lot inspires me to just try to do better where I am currently.
Right. Make the most of what you got.
Right,
Because
exactly.
I mean, certainly. Going out and seeing, like, especially once you're overseas, you're seeing other cultures, other architecture styles, all that kind of stuff.
It's breathtaking, and it's just like eye-opening.
So what are the kind of the craziest places, or maybe most dangerous places, like you've kind of been able to secure?
Well, I say one of the most interesting places was in the Middle East. I went to Bahrain.
Okay.
That country is it's phenomenal. It's unlike anything you would see over in this part of the world. The culture and the people there are just incredible.
Right.
Like, they're unlike this.
Oh, certainly. I mean, very far removed from Western society.
And as far as like a dangerous place, I would say I've done a few crazy construction sites and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I've done them in New York and other locations.
Right. So can you go into more detail when you're getting into those kind of sites? Like what? I mean, I'm sure there's a fair amount of climbing. And getting around.
It's just a lot of walking.
And stuff. Yeah, right.
It's a lot of walking.
Yeah.
And just being careful.
Very
careful.
Your photography seems pretty meticulous. You plan out your shots. You really, like we've just explained. I mean, like you go out of your way to really like plan these. You see a location, you go out and you need to find it, do you have a process for when you see a location, like what you're going to do, or do you just kind of like, I'm going here on Thursday?
I usually like to just kind of look at the location and look at the area and look at my surroundings and see if it'll even be worth my time. Most of the time I just do it anyway, just because I like to do it.
Yeah.
But as far as like setting up for a photo for it, I try to make sure that everything is kind of in my... No, see, I just kind of go along with it, and I just take photos as I go.
That's cool.
That's the best way for me to do it.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you've captured some incredible shots that way. That's
Yeah.
why, it's almost hard to believe. It's just like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a wing it moment.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
I mean, so you definitely have your vision down as far as that's concerned, So on your website, in your bio, you state that you choose to capture images which provoke a sense of adrenaline, yet a slight serenity. So can you elaborate more about that when you're going into, I guess, your idealism in photography and what you're going for?
Yeah, like I want people to kind of feel like, I want them to get on their toes sometimes with a photo. Like I want them to see something and be like, oh, that's kind of eerie. But then also at the same time, you look at the photo and you're like, it's calming because of everything that's going on. Like you kind of realize that we're all alive, we're all here on this planet, and we're all enjoying what we can. But I'm just choosing to enjoy a moment at a different level.
Right, absolutely. A heightened senses. Yeah, I mean, I definitely got that with that photo of your legs, dangling off the side of that building. I mean, I definitely was like, oh yeah, well there it is.
Yeah.
Like certainly, it kind of gives it that sense of just like, oh boy, because I mean, I get that feeling when you see it, just if you would heights, or anything like that.
It's good to be able to share it with the people. I mean, not everybody enjoys the heights, but
right, you're able to deliver that experience through that. Right on. So, you said that you shoot anything from landscape to portraits, and most of the time you try to merge the two to create a dynamic image. Can you go into depth about this process and what you're trying to achieve there?
Yeah, most of the time, whenever I'm doing a larger scale, like height, I'm with people that I know and trust. So I just choose to like kind of document them as they go. I'll take pictures of them, and I'll just utilize our locations, the backgrounds, whatever we have to kind of like create a just nice image that portrays what's going on at that current moment.
Right.
I try to capture their emotions in their purest forms. I don't like to have them pose and, just a generic pose. I want them to be doing what they're doing, and I want to be able to capture it.
So are these people that you're choosing to go out with, or is it just happenstance that you're hanging out with them? Are they other photographers? I mean, how does it go?
I mean, most of the time, it's just people I know and I hang out with on the regular basis.
Yeah.
I have a very select people that I'll do stuff like this with.
Right.
Just for the safety factor of it.
I mean, certainly.
Yeah.
You have your own creative idealism there, and just like,
Right.
I'm sure you have your own group that understands that as well, what they're trying to capture,
Right.
So, so on your website, you talk about photography shows that what you've gone through to achieve the outlook you have. Can you talk about the outlook that you're trying to express, that you talk about on your website, as a way to express yourself, all your photography and all that kind of stuff? Can you talk about what that expression is and kind of what you're going for there?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want people to kind of look at life as it is. People sugarcoat things too much.
Yep.
And there's a lot that's unseen. Mm-hmm. And I think the more that people like realize what's going on, and maybe can change how they look at things. I don't know, but I think art is like the purest form of like communication and being able to open somebody's eyes to the world.
Certainly.
Yeah.
And that goes along with how you say that you pick out the mundane.
Right.
On your website. You go, you mentioned that a lot, and I feel like that's a great kind of motif to when you look at your photographs, especially like the landscapes and the city stuff, like even if it's just graffiti on a wall, or like a sign or something like that. Like, it's an image captured. I mean, you're very much there when you look at them and everything.
It's the stuff that people don't look at, though. It's the stuff people overlook,
Right. They walk by. It's nothing.
The homeless guy sitting on the corner, like, just sleeping there. And everybody walks by him, on their way to work. Nobody gives him any attention.
Right.
Stuff like that, You see, like, a sign hanging in the corner that somebody wrote on graffiti, and it just says some funny message. Nobody notices it, but, I choose to look for stuff like that.
Right. I mean, you don't take... Every little detail you're not taking for granted.
Right.
And that's kind of cool, like, to see, especially when you have, the photography skills that you have, like, from seeing your stuff, you could take photos of anything. And I mean, you're really pointing out just like, I don't know, it's slice of life is the best way to put it, And so, like, that's always been really cool to see those little, like, those tidbits of normality put on the center stage there.
It's just how I see life and how I portray it.
So, can you talk about the hardships of being a freelance photographer? Because I mean, you're really like living that right now, and kind of like what you deal with.
Yeah, it's not easy, that's for sure. I mean, you never have a solid way of income.
Right.
You don't know what you're going to get one month to the next.
Right.
And you might have like 10 gigs to do, you might have none to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just try to do whatever comes my way. Obviously, I'm not going to do it if it's there for the money. I don't believe in stuff like that.
Right.
Like
right.
I put myself in situations where I can sign my name onto it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not going to do something to where I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to like go about business is just stick to yourself and stick to what you do.
It's got to represent you.
Right.
I mean, and so like
Yep.
you're not going to sell out like that.
Yep.
I mean, I can totally like from all of your portfolio stuff on there, no matter what it is. I mean, definitely it has its own flair of you, and it's not like here's me doing wedding photos,
Yeah,
like
no.
that kind of stuff. And like, so I guess in that whole freelancing thing, can you talk about like you've worked with stuff like Timberland, Unscaled, Reebok? Like, I mean, where do those gigs come along? Are they few and far between? How does that work out as in a freelancing kind of world? I mean, how do you get involved with those bigger names?
I think it's just word of mouth and just people noticing your work and then seeing what you're able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these people that I've done work with, I've like come across them in some form of communication like beforehand.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a right place, right time scenario, I would
Yeah.
say. But also the hard work does pay off. You just have to really just stick to what you do.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to like get to work with people like that.
Right. Right.
It's just put work out that you like.
So do you find gigs like that coming around often, or is it kind of just like does someone you just get an email one day and you're just
Usually, yeah, that's just how
Really?
it is. You'll just get a random email one day asking if you're available to do this on this date or do this
Works.
campaign, and
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's kind of stressful because you never know when you're gonna get that email.
Sure,
but-
and then I'm sure it's like stop everything.
Right.
We got to do this. You're on deadline at that
Right.
point. So when you get those, I'll call them professional gigs, as far as like you have these big companies coming to you. I mean, do you get to choose your own models, or like is it at your discretion that you get to choose these photo shoots?
Yeah, most of the time it is. Most of the time they give me like free control over everything I do.
Awesome.
They just
Awesome.
give me the outline of what they want from me, and then they just let me handle the rest. Location,
That's pretty
person I
easy. I mean,
use. I
that's-
mean, yeah,
That's good.
it's all on my own time and will. So it's nice for the creative process, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, because I mean you're not working in a box at that
Right.
point.
No, I can't do that.
So you lived in Atlanta here for how long now?
Over 10 years.
Okay. So what do you think about staying in Atlanta? I mean, are you going to branch out later on? I mean,
Yeah, I would definitely like to. I love this city a lot. It's
Yeah.
great. It's very like cultural.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot of different things going on, and
Absolutely.
I enjoy that.
Mhm.
I just like a bigger city environment. Yeah.
Certainly. I mean, do you have your sights on anything in particular? I mean, because from your photography eye, I mean, I'm sure you have that in your mind, some images.
Yeah, well, I would like to try to live in New York for a little bit.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of getting up there. That's the only thing.
Right. Right. That's how it goes.
Yeah,
You know.
one day. it'll
What
happen.
about internationally? I mean, is there any places you'd really like to go?
Yeah, as far as like to live or vacation.
Well, as far as your photography work goes, I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah,
you
I
can
mean,
see.
I would love to go everywhere.
Yeah,
I want
right.
to see the world.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. So, what do you have in the works this year, as far as like showcasings, galleries, anything like that coming up?
I just had a gallery. It was last month. I don't have anything planned currently, but
Okay.
I usually plan them pretty quickly.
Okay.
Within like a month.
How can
it'll probably
people
happen.
find out? Is through social media?
Yeah,
and,
that's-
like your
that's-
website and everything like that.
That's like the number one way.
Okay.
I just
cool.
blast it on social media. Now that I have my website running as well.
Right. And it's again, check out the website. It's well done. You can see everything, and there's merch. That's important to
Yes.
notice. There's a lot of things like a lot of people they'll sell just stuff that's their name. You actually use your photography as the merch. Can
And
you talk a
actually-
little bit about that? Because you
yeah.
have pillows and everything.
That merch is actually through a company that I've done work with. It's called 404.
Mm-hmm.
They're based here in Atlanta.
Right. Is that where you had? I
Yeah.
think we went to one of your things away. Oh, okay, that might not have been it, but there was a showcase we went to in a small little thing off of over there in Edgewood.
No, that was the Goddess Dope one.
Yeah, that.
that was mine and my friend Colin's.
Okay.
Which was put on by one of
So
my
where's
friends.
404 based?
404 there in downtown.
Oh, okay.
And basically, it's just like a hub for creatives.
Oh, cool.
So, they provide like like I can sell my products through them because of their ability just to merchandise and like market the.
So do they print and everything like that? Do they
Yeah,
produce?
well they have all this. They have all the capabilities of producing the product for their.
Right on.
Yeah.
There's good promotion
consumer.
right there. Yep. Be aware. That's a good resource. So we're kind of at the end here. I'd like to have you kind of give your spiel on, we work with photographers as well with our publication and everything like that. I mean, what can you say to other photographers? What's advice, from your point of view, you definitely have your own niche of doing things.
Right.
But I mean, like, you also have accomplished like a lot, so like what's advice you could give to other photographers out there looking to kind of get their name out there? Because not only is your stuff good, but your presence, your social media, everything is very, it's very hip and right now. You have a lot of followers. You get around.
As far as that, I would just say just keep doing what you're doing. There's really no rush to the process. That's just, you have to just take it step by step and just try to make yourself a little bit different than everybody else. That's another big thing. Everybody wants to do something, but everybody will do the same thing as the next person.
Right.
And if you want to make it, you can't really be doing that just because there's not much recognition if everybody's doing the same thing.
Right. There's nothing to make you stand out.
Exactly.
At that point,
Yeah. And then there's no uniqueness, so what's the point?
Find your own voice in that.
Right.
That's definitely like that's the word of the wise right there.
Yeah. Art should definitely come from like your heart, and you should like really push that. Like that's the only way you're gonna like.
Right.
It.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the honorable thing, So, do you have anything else you would like to plug before we get done with everything? I mean, do you have anything coming up? I mean, I know we kind of try to address art or shows or anything like that, but
no, I don't have anything coming up, unfortunately. I've just been kind of laying low this year, kind of just like plotting and planning some more moves.
very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Just a few trips, maybe in the end of the year, and that's about it.
Right. Okay. Well, this has been Nick D'Andrea. Again, you can check out his website, nk-da.com, or his Instagram @nk.da, and his email is shotbynkda@gmail.com. That's all one word there at the end. You can follow him. I mean, you put those stories of you, doing all of the, elaborate climbing and getting to where your photos are being done, which is really cool, and I think that's something that you don't see a lot. Especially like with social media. I mean, that's like a cool secondary element to be as if someone was like, hey, here's me tracking guitar right now throughout the entire thing of me tracking, like you follow along on the art. So definitely keep in contact with him there. Check out his stories and, his social media will always be updated. There's a lot of good photos up there and buy some merch, So Nick, thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you very much for listening to Bandwidth, and we'll catch you guys next time.